Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fast Guard News, Nighttime Edition. I'm Dwight Gibson,
I'm Roderick Payne.
and today we want to talk to you about having adequate security at your event, at your job site, at your business. So we get a lot of last minute phone calls to come in and be the hero at the last second, and we get a lot of people that ask us to cut corners, and we have to have a real conversation with a lot of business owners, project managers, things of that nature to get them to understand why it's important, one, to not cut corners, and two, to put security in your budget and contact a security professional early on so you can avoid, what could be an oh shit moment.
Correct. A lot of people don't know who to call, so they start calling any old body, and they might have a bad experience. That's where management and everything else comes in, just like any other business. I think the point is to with these type of things and understanding budgets. Like, a lot of people they feel like they don't have to pay for security. That's the big thing. Like, when you tell a person a price, from what I experienced from day one, and what you probably already know is, I thought I was going to pay $15. It's like, no, security, and you're trying to explain to a person about how to protect their liability, how to protect their whatever they've already invested in. And like, when it comes to things like Firewatch, you tell a person, hey, we have one every 4 floors. No, I dealt with another company. We got 60 floors. We only use one guard. I say, okay, so if a fire happened, do you understand the job of a security guard or a fire watch? Yeah. They just sleep, and every hour they walk around. I was like, no.
Not at all.
They got to be able to be the last. They're the last step. If people, especially if it's occupied, people are sleeping. They got to go and knock on every door and make sure everybody's evacuated. And they got to dispatch 911 while they're doing that, and they got to run. How could you say one guy with all of those floors is going to cover that much space? It'll never happen.
Right. And then he also won't be able to, suppose there's smoke on the 13th floor and he's on the 40th floor.
Yeah.
On foot.
Which has happened.
Right.
And so you get into things like that, and you start understanding why security is important after the fact.
Right.
Same thing, big events. Somebody gets hurt. Oh man, I wish I would have had security.
Well, there's something that just happened in Dallas with a cheerleading event. Like they didn't have adequate security. What actually happened?
I believe it was more of some moms out there arguing, or some patrons at the event arguing, and it caused people to like panic, and people were trying to evacuate because it's girls of all ages out there, and people trying to get out of the way. People get trampled over. Nobody really got hurt that bad, but you can believe a multi-million-dollar lawsuit is coming because they're in an event location, and they should have had either security or insurance or a combination of both. So the event, like when you go to these high-end event centers, they have a life safety person. When you hear that, the price is about to go up. Majorly.
And what the life safety manager or life safety consultant says goes. If he tells you you need 10 guards, you need 10 guards.
You need 10
if
guards.
he tells you need 20 guards,
and so,
you need 20 guards.
So people call in and they say, we did this event 3 years in a row and nothing ever happened. We only had 2 guards. How many people are you going to have? 3,000. We won't do it. And what do you want us responsible for? Crowd control. Okay. So, with those type of things, you have to look at the liability goes into it from both sides. You want to make sure you got adequate personnel, because inadequate security is going to cost you a lot of money. And as a business owner, you're supposed to make smart decisions. You're supposed to understand why you finance certain things and why you don't finance others. You're supposed to understand how having the correct insurance is going to shield you from maybe multi-million-dollar. It might be a $200,000 project. And then you have to defend yourself possibly from people coming in suing you for millions of dollars because of negligence, because something happened and it's your property. So, the main thing is make sure you consult with somebody. Even if, like, if you call us, if you call Fast Guard, we'll consult you. We're going to charge for our time, a very small fee, but it's going to work wonders compared to what you have to get done
But
as far as.
that consulting has to take place in advance.
Correct. It's not,
Right.
hey, we need somebody over here in 5 minutes and it'll shut us down.
Or my event starts in 2 days. I had a company that did it for this price before. Can you beat it? No, we can't.
And people think you're trying to lowball.
Right.
Trying to juice the price up, and it's not about that. It's like, you're gonna have to pay these people. You're assembling a team. People seem to think we have guys like a dark closet downstairs. You just open up the door. All right, Fast Guards. Wake up. You got an event.
The Avengers, when Tony Stark had, I can't remember what it was called, but it was a bunch of Iron Man suits just waiting in the closet.
Just waiting. That's not how security guards work. And then you're now staffing somebody. You got to train them. You got to know all the parameters of the event, because people are smart. People will call you and say, hey, we're at this place. We only need about 3 security guards. Okay, you got a security plan? No, but the guy told me we should be straight. We did it last year with 3. It's no big thing. And then you come there with 3 and something happens, you're going to take the hit as a security professional or company. And it's like, you have to think about that, and you have to look at, okay, let me look at what the security plan says. If you don't have it, then let me speak to somebody that may have it. So I can protect myself. That's like security 101. If you're dealing with a security company and they're doing security for you for an event, and you didn't present them with a plan for your event and let them give their feedback, or they didn't bring a plan, then are you dealing with a real security professional? Are you dealing with a guy that's going to put a bunch of other guys together, and they're gonna put the same shirt on?
Right. And one thing one way you can I don't want to say circumvent a plan, but one way you can try to mitigate costs is by having that consultation up front early. And once we do a walkthrough, we might be able to tell you where you can save some money. You don't need a guard here. We can circumvent having a guard here by putting a barricade or something like that. Also, by booking in advance, that lowers the price.
Correct.
Because if you know you're going to have an event, a big event, 6 months ahead of time, a year ahead of time, if you book security 6 months in advance, it's going to be a way different price than booking security 4 days before event start.
Well, I mean, you got to compare security guards like hotel rooms. So hotel rooms, think about trying to get a hotel room on Memorial Day in Miami back in the day.
Yeah.
Forget about it. Or it's going to be $3,000. So you and 10 other people got to stay in a room that's meant for 2 people.
Right.
So, you think about it like that. There's a price surge on Uber, price surge. There's a big Super Bowl's going on. It's going to be congested. Instead of costing $5, it costs $100. It is what it is. So we look at all of that stuff and put all of those factors together, and that's really based on the charge. A lot of people don't see it that way, and they think that, I called you guys last week and it was $15. This week it's going to be $25, and it's just getting the customer to understand the amount of liability they're putting themselves in front of at an event. Like most events have, like, you can get day of insurance, like 1 day insurance, but they do that. You have to do that in advance because they have their people in the back office running the numbers. How many people you expecting? 1,000. Oh, okay. We might take a loss maybe 5% of the time. Okay, we could do this event. But if it sounds too crazy and they want to see your security plan, they look at the whole deal. So I think that, like, I'll give one example. That thing that happened in Dallas, think of how bad it could have been. They said people started running because somebody said they had a gun.
Oh, man.
That's how it started.
So there was no bag check, no wanding?
No, nothing. Nothing. They just, a bunch of people in a room, looked over by a bunch of other people in a room with maybe no formal training. Like, you want to stop the threat before it becomes a threat. They got training for that now. They got AI for that now. They got all the stuff that you could do, but people say, this is a cheerleading event.
Right.
We've never had to have no heavy security. We'll be fine.
And I'm sure, well, I know because my daughter was in cheerleading, but when you go to a cheerleading event, there is a cost for entry. And depending on how many people are at the event, you can roll the cost of security into the price for admission.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any parent would object to paying an extra $5 or $10 for their ticket
Mm-hmm.
for having that peace of mind, knowing that there's going to be adequate security. No one's coming in with weapons.
Mm-hmm.
If something does happen, someone's going to direct us to the exit. Someone's there, and their sole job is to prevent any altercations from happening.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure 80, 90, probably 100% of parents are being okay paying an extra $5 or $10.
It's a deterrent. You got to think when I walk somewhere and I see they have security, like I've said before in prior episodes, is I see security doing a military style, police style pat down at the door. I leave my gun in the car. I see security giving you you're good. I'm bringing mine in because I want to be on a level playing field if something pop off.
You, sir, are part of the problem.
Yeah, but I'm like, there's no way those guys are gonna find my. I'm not even gonna hide it. It's not even a hidden weapon at that point. They didn't even try. I'm not coming in here unprotected with my family. Trampoline park. I don't know who's in here. So but when you look at these things and understand why you want that type of protection, that's how I want to feel.
Right.
Sporting events. I think all sporting events should have some sort of security. People get overzealous dealing with sports. Like you've seen Cam Newton had that situation at his.
Cam Newton, and if I remember correctly, it's not that anyone attacked Cam Newton. Cam Newton was just being, what most stand-up guys would do if they see two kids fighting. He tried to go in and separate them and pull them apart. But, at those, especially football, like I don't know if basketball or baseball is the same. I mean, I know basketball get a little chippy, but football, especially 7-on-7, like you got kids, they dancing on top of other kids. If they catch a deep pass on them, they
mousing them.
They just being straight disrespectful.
Yeah.
So
that's gonna call. You're gonna have some.
Yeah, you're gonna have some kids that ain't gonna like that, and it might be altercation. So you definitely should have adequate security at 7-on-7 events for sure.
Yeah, so 7-on-7 basketball. A lot of the basketball events, when you look at you're in a gym and you look at all over the nation, concealed weapons are many states don't even have a license for them. That means any person that feels like I think I'm gonna carry my gun today. A concerned dad, it could be somebody that means well, and could take the gun off and leave it next to a sink. While they're washing their hands.
In the bathroom.
And
forget that it's
drop
there.
it in the stands in front of everybody with your children sitting right in front of them. It's a loaded gun. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Absolutely not. So we're gonna have some type of sense of control here.
Right.
If I'm going to events, especially stuff that my sons play, and there's gonna be a lot of people, like more than just the parents from the team. It's a rivalry game, and it's gonna come on, man, have somebody out here at least show presence because it's a deterrent for people that because people, parents talk a lot of smack at these games, and sometimes they think they're watching Sunday football,
right?
And people stand up. People, all of those people out there with those Stanley Cups at all these games. It's not water in it. They're not staying hydrated.
You don't say.
They get hammered. They're drinking spritzers.
Well, there was an incident a few years ago at a high school football game at Palm Beach Central, and shots were fired during the game. Like guys on the field heard shots and dropped to the ground. And since that happened, that's one of the reasons that some of the high school games have been moved up. Remember before when we were in high school, Friday Night Lights, games time was 7:30. Now game time, most of the time, is 6 o'clock, at least in certain counties. And then now when you go to games, like if you don't get there early enough, you're gonna miss part of the game because there's a weapons check at the gate for that reason.
Yeah. But think of how long that was happening, and nobody said nothing. How long people were just allowed to just walk in there around all the babies and just no sense of security. Yeah. It sucks that something has to happen for people to be like, oh, that can happen, And when people hear the prices, all most people think about when they throw in the event is profit. Right. They've already counted whatever shillings they're going to put aside for the event, and they feeling like security is cutting into that.
Right.
Security should be 15 to 20% of every budget. If you're putting together $100,000, 20 grand need to go to security. You want it protected, right? If you planning on if you're gonna put up 100 grand for a show, you want to protect that 100 grand. What stops somebody from coming in and strong arming your money at the end of the night, or in the middle of the night, or right when everybody gets through to the show? What stops them? You gotta have some sense. You gotta protect your money. You hoping to flip that over. You spent 100 looking to make 150 or 200. You got to think, let me protect my investment. It's the cost of doing business, but there are hard-headed people out there, and by all means, more power to you. I hope that everything goes well. We don't wish bad on anybody.
Right.
The deal is we've seen it so much, and we deal with it all around the nation, and it creates a situation. And it's like, why? If you called us for a price and you say you're gonna do it yourself, so you're gonna throw you and your buddies some security, that might work once or twice. But if you don't know how to do security, what are you gonna do if something happens?
Right.
Do you know how to respond if somebody passes out and until 911 gets there? You're supposed to be security. People gonna look to you for help. Probably got a badge on your shirt. You got to think about all of these things. Are you CPR certified? Do you know how to do? Do you know how to use a defib? Do you know how to check if somebody even has a pulse? Like, you got some, stand back, and that's all they're gonna do. So you got to consider all of these things when you hiring a security guard company, because everybody's not trained the same. We've enacted protocols on every single job for every single thing.
Right.
We want the best out of what we can get from our guards and the people performing our job. We are charging a pretty penny because we aim to please, and we want you to tell us how we did. If we didn't do up to your level of what you thought you were going to receive, let us know. We'll correct it. But how many people doing business like that? A lot of people are happy to get a call.
Not many.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps us up, guys. If you're throwing an event, if you need fire watch, if you're a general contractor and you're in the middle of building something, at a minimum, get a security consultation. At a maximum, hire security in advance. I'm Dwight. This is Rod. We are Fast Guard Service. You can reach us online at www.fastguardservice.com. You can also reach us by phone, 844-25-GUARD. We hope to hear from you soon. Have a great one.